Distinguished guests, graduands, your families and your friends, and Bond University colleagues, welcome to this 129th Bond University graduation. This morning we will confer degrees in the Bond Business School and the Faculty of Law. It is now my pleasure to introduce Bond University's Vice-Chancellor and President, Professor Tim Brailsford.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I normally start off with what a wonderful day this is. For those of you that have travelled from far and wide, this is the one weekend of the entire year where we don't have blue sky and sunshine. We can do a lot of things at Bond, but we can't do too much about the weather. Good morning, and graduation days are wonderful days. They are the culmination of years of hard work, years of long hours, toiling away on academic endeavours and developing personal skills and attributes, and hopefully having a wonderful time along the way. Our graduating class today have achieved much, and graduation ceremonies inevitably have some formality around them, but the day is ultimately all about recognising the achievements of our graduands as they graduate. Can I welcome those who are here to support our graduands, your family, your friends, your supporters, your networks, and I again draw attention to those of you who have travelled considerable distances to be with us today. On behalf of our graduating class, I thank you. Allow me to commence by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet here today. These are the people of the Yugambeh language, and I pay my respects to elders past and present, and I do so in the spirit of reconciliation and on your behalf. We have a number of special guests with us today, and indeed I think everyone in this hall, all 1,200 of you, are special in your own ways. Forgive me if I do not acknowledge each and every one of you 1,200, and I will draw attention to just a few. First, it's my great pleasure to acknowledge the University's 8th Chancellor, the Honourable Dr. Annabelle Bennett. And she is joined by her husband, Dr. David Bennett, who is an honorary professor here in our law school. We have current members of our council, including Dr. Darryl Gregor, Mr. Victor Hugentink and his wife, Carol Barnes, Dr. Manny Pohl and his wife, Gail, who are here in various capacities, and indeed it's a great pleasure to note that one of their children will graduate here today as well. Professor Darryl LeGroux and his wife, Josephine. But we are not just joined today by members of our current council, but we're particularly pleased and honoured to have members of previous councils, and in particular we have the University's 7th and immediately past Chancellor, Dr. Helen Nugent. Helen is joined by her husband Michael, and during Helen's reign here at the University, Michael attended, I think, almost every graduation ceremony. He probably thought at the last graduation ceremony that was the last time he had to sit through one. But Michael, there is one to go, and the audience will soon find out why. I welcome former Deputy Chancellor Ken MacDonald and his partner Marion Gibney. I see former Councillor Tom Ray and his wife Megan, Mr. Ray Stevens, MP, Estate Member for Mermaid Beach. Ray is always a tremendous advocate for this institution and this area. Members of the University Company, proud parents, family members, my Bond colleagues, and of course today's graduating class. Honorary Professor Sonu Kadanaga, who is here on the stage, has travelled overnight from Tokyo to be here with us today. Bond has been involved with the BBT organisation in Tokyo in offering a global MBA program to Japanese executives. And some of those executives will graduate today. Around the room you will see the flags of the nations from which our graduates originate. I think we have over 90 countries now represented amongst our current student cohort. Bond has been international in its outlook since day one. We embrace diversity and we are proud to be members of the global village in which we live. And probably in recent decades there has never been such an important time to make a statement about embracing the global village and embracing the diversity of internationalisation. We do so, and we do so proudly. You each have a copy of today's proceedings on your seat. I trust that you follow the proceedings and you enjoy the ceremony, and that you respect and acknowledge every single graduate as they come up onto the stage and have their special moment. Ladies and gentlemen, on rare occasions, the university awards a person of particular merit the Doctor of the University, honoris causa. This award is the highest award the university can bestow on any individual. Bond University is not in the habit of bestowing such an award frequently nor easily. Candidates for the award must have made a sustained and outstanding contribution to the university and to have truly excelled in their chosen field of endeavour. Indeed, next year this university will celebrate its 30th anniversary, and in almost 30 years the university has only made 24 previous such awards. So they are earned, and we do not give them away lightly. Chancellor, I present to you the university's 25th candidate for the award of Doctor of the University, honoris causa. Helen Marion Nugent was elected as the 7th Chancellor of Bond University on the 23rd of May 2009, and she served as Chancellor until April 2016. She is to date the longest serving Chancellor of this university. She is one of Australia's preeminent non-executive company directors. Helen has wide experience in Australian corporate life, in the not-for-profit sector and specifically in the education sector. Amongst various roles, previously she has been President of Cranbrook School in Sydney. She has also been Chairman of corporate organisations including Vita Group, Funds SA, Swiss Re, and a Director of Mercantile Mutual, Origin Energy and Macquarie Bank. Helen was a member of the influential Bradley Review into Higher Education in 2008, and she chaired the National Opera Review. She was a partner at McKinsey & Company and Director of Strategy at the Westpac Banking Corporation. So with this list of achievements, Bond was indeed fortunate that Helen agreed to serve as our 7th Chancellor. There are a number of key achievements during her time as Chancellor at this university, to mention a few. Academic programs received unprecedented accreditation and recognition by global business, academic and professional organisations. The Obedience School of Architecture, including the award-winning building which houses the school, was conceived, built and opened by Dr. Nugent during her term. She's held an unswerving commitment to the quality of the student experience which distinguishes Bond University, and was always, and I trust no doubt still, a passionate advocate for this university in the higher education sector and more broadly across the community. With respect to the governance activities of the university, Helen brought to Bond a true determination to ensure that the highest principles of corporate governance and integrity were maintained during her term. This included immersing herself in all aspects of the university. The role of members of the company, an important component of the governance of the university, was strengthened and made more central. Within the broader university community, Helen took the role of Chancellor to her heart and made it her own. Quite simply, her personal commitment to the university has been exemplary. Her contribution to Australian society in general has continued since her time as Chancellor at Bond. She was formerly Chairman of the Australian Rail Track Corporation, and she reminds me that Chairman is the appropriate title. She is now Chairman of the National Disability Insurance Agency, Ausgrid, and long-serving Chair of the National Portrait Gallery. She's also a non-executive director of IAG and the Garvan Institute of Medical Research. Helen holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Queensland with first-class honours, a PhD from the University of Queensland, and also an earned Master of Business Administration with distinction, I note, from the Harvard Business School. Her community service was recognised in 2004 when she was appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia for services to performing arts, business and the financial services industry, particularly in the area of corporate governance. Chancellor, the university's rules that govern the recommendation of the award of Doctor of the University state that the candidate must have made an outstanding contribution to the university and or to society in general. I trust that everyone agrees that Helen is the most worthy candidate. Chancellor, it's now my great pleasure to present to you Helen Marion Nugent for the award of the degree of Doctor of the University Honoris Causa. Ladies and gentlemen, with great pleasure, I now invite Bond's latest graduate to provide you with this morning's occasional address. Dr. Helen Marion Nugent.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, friends and family, and most importantly of all, graduates. I am humbled, in fact profoundly embarrassed by the Vice-Chancellor's kind words, but most of all to have received the great honour bestowed on me today. Bond is a wonderful institution. The palpable sense of family on display today is something of which I was immensely proud as Chancellor. It is no less true today. In being awarded this highly valued honorary degree, I acknowledge the members of the Bond family who supported me through my tenure as Chancellor. Your outstanding Vice-Chancellor, the Deans of the faculties, the amazing teaching staff, the students who love this place so much, my fellow members of Council, and thank you in particular to those of you who are here today. And of course, my family, particularly my husband, who, as the Vice-Chancellor has just said, attended every graduation ceremony bar one, where it took heart surgery to keep him away. And I thank my friends who have journeyed to be here today, as well as my wonderful daughter Elizabeth and her husband Jesse. My son regrets he can't be here, but he is doing a startup in the US, part of a startup in the US. Finally, can I also acknowledge your wonderful Chancellor, Dr. Annabel Bennett, who I know shares that special passion for Bond. I thank you and the Council, Chancellor, for awarding me this honour. This degree makes me a Bondie. Today, it also allows me to share that special sense of belonging that comes from being connected forever to this extraordinary institution. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And congratulations to each and every one of you who is about to walk across this stage. I know your family and friends will shortly be bursting with pride as you take those steps that end this stage of your bond journey. They have supported you through each milestone of your degree and now join you in sharing this moment of joy. It is a day of celebration, and I hope you party well into the night, as only bondies can, as your achievements are acknowledged. As Chancellor, I presided over close to 40 graduation ceremonies. Each were wonderful in their own way, some more memorable than others. Over those years, I learned a bit about what makes graduation speeches work and what was slightly less successful. My key takeaways were to be insightful, say something that spoke to the graduates, keep it short, underlined, and try to be amusing. Well, I'm not sure I can deliver on the latter topic, given the topic I want to discuss today, but let me try to deliver on the first 3 points. My charge to you, the graduates, as future Australian and global leaders, is to make the building of trust a sacred mission. It is trust that underpins the community's respect for the products and services we sell, the operation of our legal and regulatory system, the respect in which our educational institutions are held, and the social services we deliver to our citizens. Trust is also central to the operation of our democracy. Even more profoundly, it is trust that underpins our relationships with family and friends, so fiercely evident today, as well as your own personal credibility and standing. At an individual level, my dream is that you will leave here today with a commitment that building and maintaining trust will be a lodestar that guides your relationship with your family, your friends, and in your workplace. So why would I ask this of you? Let me explain. Australia is an incredibly lucky country. We are located in a high-growth part of the world. We have a wonderful standard of living and low unemployment. And if you live at the Gold Coast, excluding today, the sun shines and the beaches are great. Who could wish for more, particularly as a student? But Australians, as with many other countries globally, confront the challenge that trust in institutions is eroding. We don't trust the media. Witness the debate on the role the media played in Australia's recent political dramas. We don't trust government. Observe recent events surrounding the ABC. We don't trust business. The Banking Royal Commission has given us ample reason to be sceptical. And we don't even trust non-government organisations. The Royal Commission into child sex abuse and that proposed into abuse of the elderly in aged care facilities are just 2 examples. Data on the erosion of trust is stark. The 2018 highly respected Edelman Trust Barometer illustrates that point. It shows that Australians distrust media and government even more than they distrust business and non-government organisations. But all are distrusted. Even though our scores significantly improved between 2012 and 2016, it is now back to the same low level as in 2012. Indeed, we came 21st out of 28 countries surveyed in the report. That reflects more than just a little bit of Aussie cynicism, of cutting down to poppies. It is not something of which we should be proud. The only good news, if indeed I could classify it as such, is that other countries are falling at a faster rate than us. Indeed, the USA scored the steepest decline that the Edelman survey has ever experienced. Let me just say the credibility of individual leaders matters, as does regard for the truth. The means can, in my view, never, ever justify the outcome. But let me return to Australia. My concern is that the interplay among media, politicians, business and other institutions is creating a vicious downward spiral that is amplifying the cycle of distrust. The Royal Commission into financial services and institutional child sex abuse have exacerbated that cycle, shining a light on unacceptable behaviour in institutions such as banks and the church, once seen as stalwart pillars of our society. Trust has been broken with the public, undermining the social licence to operate of some of our largest and hitherto most respected organisations. But be in no doubt, that downward spiral is underpinned by individual behaviour. Simply put, trust is broken by individuals behaving badly. Commissioner Hayne has rightly pointed out that incentives might have been wrong and regulatory enforcement might have been weak, but at the end of the day, it was individuals who exercised poor judgment. It was individuals who lost their moral compass. So my clarion call to you, as Australia's and future world leaders, is to make building and maintaining trust a first priority. You stand today at the doorstep of a great future. You have received a first-class education from a highly ethical and critically acclaimed organisation. Today, you are surrounded by people who trust you and who you trust, your family and friends and your professors who care for you. You are embraced in the mantle of an organisation of high standing with whose reputation you are now indelibly entwined. My ask is that individually you continue to make wise choices about how you enhance your reputation as a person who is trusted. That is an investment that will pay dividends for a lifetime. Let me give you 6 pieces of gratuitous advice. The first is to be authentic. We can all pick a fake at 100 paces. Authenticity is gold and will be recognised for what it is. Second, walk the talk. Do what you say and say what you do. This is the hallmark of a true leader. Your word should be your bond, and I'm sorry about the pun. Third, be humble. Nobody likes a braggart. People who are full of themselves erode trust. Care for others, not just family and friends, but the disadvantaged in society. The benefits will be manifold. Demonstrate courage. Don't get sucked into the vortex of lies and half-truths, no matter how easy it is to be one of the pack. You only have one reputation. And finally, dig deep to separate fact from fiction. Don't be deluded by populist rhetoric or ratings. TripAdvisor is not a substitute, no matter how much I'm told it is, for detailed expert reviews, and Rotten Tomatoes is not a reliable source of movie information. Attention to detail, understanding the facts, and exercising real judgment in line with your moral compass are choices for life. In addition, I ask that as the future leaders in Australia and globally, you mindfully create organisations that are trusted. To make a few points, that means being driven by genuine customer needs, not product flog. Developing values-based organisational cultures where staff are empowered to speak up and tell it as it is. Taking a long-term perspective on organisational success, not one driven simply by short-term profit-taking. And finally, aligning remuneration to the organisation's long-term performance. The future is in your hands. I have every confidence that you will be true to yourself and will seize a future based on trust. In so doing, you can and you will change the world, and you can do so for the enrichment of humanity. Again, congratulations on gaining your degree, and may your life continue to be enriched by trusting family and friends in this room today who have been so integral in your success to date. And thank you again for the honour bestowed on me today. I am deeply moved.
I've got to climb up, it's a height thing. Well, normally I sit there thinking about what I'm going to say to thank our guest speaker at a graduation. I must say I was absolutely absorbed in what Helen said. I thought that that was outstanding, and she herself demonstrated all of the characteristics that she urged you to adopt. I noted at the beginning that her humility was apparent in the fact that she didn't talk about herself, but she addressed you. I think as I went through and I listened to it, I'm thinking tick, tick, tick. Every single one of those characteristics are characteristics that she's demonstrated, as you've heard, through the course of her career and as she demonstrated to you today. And authenticity, I think, is also totally apparent. Her care for you rather than for herself at this moment, which is also a great moment for her, was absolutely extraordinary. And I would like you to join with me in congratulating Helen and thanking her again for that outstanding address. Well, this is an exciting day for everybody, for the graduands, who are soon to be graduates, we hope, and for all of their families. But I'd like to remind you of one thing. There are some younger members of the audience who are here as friends and family, and for them this event may not be quite as exciting as it is for you. If they want to run around or make a noise, I know that you'll be very tolerant, and of course from our perspective we want to ensure these future bondies that these future bondies understand how welcoming Bond is, and that they'll come back and be up here one day as you will be. So please be tolerant and let them have a bit of freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, my own experience of universities in various capacities has made me realise just what wonderful places they are and what a wonderful opportunity it is to have a university education. But I have to say that over the time I've been at Bond, I've come to realise that this is an extraordinary place. I don't think I need to remind the students about that, because whenever I walk into any room anywhere now and mention the word Bond, you know who the Bondies are. They're the ones whose faces light up at the mention of the university. And quite frankly, I don't see that with other universities. So we've been thinking as a council recently about what it is that makes Bond so special. And we've realised that it's all one thing. It's our students. And it's our approach to our students and our care for our students, or as one of our council members said as recently as yesterday, the cuddle factor. Bond has that in spades, and as a parent I know that you want the best for your kids, and you cannot, in my view, have given them anything better than an education and an experience here at Bond. So while I know that many of you have sacrificed in order to enable that to happen, I know that the students thank you and we appreciate it, because I really do believe that a Bond experience is priceless. Of course, we offer it as a wonderful set of academic programs as well, and I know the students will have thanked and will continue to thank the outstanding members of staff who've helped them achieve what they've achieved so far and what they will achieve further on. Bond has an outstanding staff, both academic and non-academic staff, that help the students through, and many of them are sitting behind me, and I know that the students appreciate that totally. But of course, none of this could happen without the friends and family who are here today. Now don't forget, these young people here before me are not graduates yet, they're only graduands. And I've sat in the hall, as many of you are sitting today, as a parent of a Bond graduand, and I always thought to myself, I was waited. It's a bit like one of those weddings when someone says, if there's anyone here who knows any reason why this couple should not be joined, please stand up. And I always hoped that nothing would happen between this moment and that final moment when they actually get their degrees awarded to say, not that one. But I'm sure nothing's going to happen and we're going to get to it there. So it's a day of great joy. And of course, the graduates, when they become graduates, will not leave the university. They may leave physically, but we know that you'll be with us all the time, and that the joys and the friendships you've made while you've been here at Bond will continue. You will always be Bondies, you'll be part of the Bond cohort. We hope that you'll come back even next year to Homecoming, where we celebrate our 30th anniversary, and because by that time you'll be suffering from total withdrawal symptoms, and you'll want to continue to party and take this on and see all your friends again. So do come back as often as you want, keep in contact with each other, and please keep in contact with the university. So one of the most fun parts of being Chancellor is actually that I do get to award the degrees, and it gives me a great joy to do so. And I look forward to actually talking to each of you as you come up and giving your testament personally. But in the meantime, just to make it formal, before it gets taken away from you, I call on the Chair of the Academic Senate to present the candidates for degrees.
Will all candidates for degrees please stand? Chancellor, I wish to present graduands from the Bond Business School and the Faculty of Law for admission to awards of Bond University. Chancellor, I certify to you and to the University that the graduands have satisfied the requirements for admission to the award for which they are being presented.
With the authority of Council, I hereby admit you to the awards for which you have qualified. I also admit those who have qualified for their degrees who are unable to be present today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the moment of graduation. Please join with me in congratulating the most recent graduates of Bond University. So we'll now move to the formal presentation of testaments.
Chancellor, the following candidates are presented for the award of Research Doctorate. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, with a thesis titled Trade and Beyond Trade Analysis of Preferential Trade Agreements, Aruna Gounder. And with a thesis titled Vulnerability to Crisis, Fiscal Consolidation and Banking Sector Stability, Evidence from Selected Economies, Habib or Rahman. Chancellor, I present undergraduates from the Bond Business School. The Deputy Dean will congratulate each candidate after they have been conferred with their degree. Tristan David Bourgeois. Neve Ella Grady. Braden Tiger Law. Tyler Norvok. Jordan Jack Penny. Naoka Willa Gisan Salmon. Molly Catherine Parker. Arwa Siddiqui. Fitri Nur Aini. Emily Airy. Gabriel Beretta Solis. Georgia Olivia Kate Benjamin. Grace Branch. Kong Chen. Si Yang Chen. Kayla Leanne Crane. Lorena Emhart. Valentina Emily Hoffer. Daniel Glenn Holt. Mishu Zhang. Emma Louise Karst. Alexandra Melovskaya. Kimberly May McGuigan. Jesse Moffa. Kimberly Victoria Pierce. Gregory Prowse. Josiah Thomas Reynolds Stanley. Aurelie Tessier. Olivia Anderson. Megan Erin Boyce. Ruben Nay Correa. Owen Flynn. Cormac Ethan Gray. Paramish Singh Grewal. Ignacio Martin Infantes Rodriguez Correll. Jackson Pierce. Chi-Ting Leng. Stacy Massini. Maxwell Marcus Bear. Brittany Clark. Alexander Peter James Graham. Chancellor, I present postgraduates from the Bond Business School. Harmandeep Kaur. Ashna Koirala. Nicholas Polton. Beryl Cheritich Kwambai. Han Chow. Peng Zai. Amin Aurora. Gurbir Singh Sabarwal. Singh Se. Pierre Damien Pico. Chantel Grace Albrecht. Courtney Brown. Alistair Cochran. Lena Holt Headland. Alexander William McLaren. Natalie Osley Pasterfield. Daniel Scott Peters. Joanne Louise Painter. Peter Alexander Dick. Roger Marquis. Robert Matthews. Troy Staples. Andre Eli Tawaf. Henry Alfred Westbrook. Biji Balakrishnan. Leanne Hodgson. Junyi Lim. Eugenia Simonova. Steffi Augustina Mary. Ali Sroor. Khalifa Ali Khalid Al-Samon Al-Sabah. Jia Shui. Julia Betancourt. Paul Fontaine. The university is proud of its long association with Business Breakthrough University. Together, we teach a Master of Business Administration program tailored to meet the needs of Japanese business. Honorary Professor Sano Katanaga will present graduates from the Bond University BBT Global Leadership MBA.
Chancellor, I wish to present the following 14 graduates in the Bond University BBT Global Leadership MBA. It's an online program, and they don't live in Australia. And today, 3 could come here for the ceremony. Hiroki Kano. Masaki Sakashita. Eri Sato. I would also like to read the names of those who are not present here, as this portion of the ceremony will be broadcast in Japan for them to watch. Norihito Fujino, Yuno Hayakawa, Ryota Iguchi, Kanako Ishii, Taisuke Kinoshita, Michiko Otani, Norihito Sakaguchi, Yukari Sakai, Masanori Tanaka, Mayu Yamada, Takahiro Yamashita.
Chancellor, I present undergraduates from the Faculty of Law. The Executive Dean will congratulate each candidate after they have been conferred with their degree. Hoshari Hawagama. Taylor Jade Matukin. Kelly Marie Abrahams. Stevie Ann Adams. Casey Jade Biggins. Grace Bradley. Mahalia Bromfield. Nicholas Kaiser. Nada Dib. Desley Jennifer Dunn. Rachel Grosvenor. Alexandra Taylor Hughes. Sang Yoon Jung. Jihan Lee. Maria Morris. Nicholas Muiki. Sophie Elise Norman. Jacob Anthony Opre. Nicola Richards. Matthew Robson. Sarvashri Singh. Manuel August Soares. James Trainer. Right. Adam David McLean. Justine Elizabeth Booth. Molly Rose Flynn. Jack Gohl. Hannah Lee Catherine Goodman. Laura Hagan. Edward John Jude. Chanel Kennedy. Abigail Pugh. Henry Sheridan. Ellen Soust. Cody Clark. Alice Gilmore. Amy Hiscox. Samuel Leonard. Monica Volarovich. Michaela Amber Breyer Mills. Chancellor, I present postgraduates from the Faculty of Law. Vivian Shamistra Abawardina. Sanjeet Bains. Fengshu Gao. Stephanie Elizabeth Horton. Allison Victoria Kelly. Amelia Ortega Medina. Marie Melania Racky. Ying Cho. Allison Stephanie Artagay Vatia Delgado. Matthew Reed Balby. Honeyball Catane. Rong Lee. Jianshu Liu. Tabello Moragelli. Daniel Mulak. Linda Suzanne Palmer. Miriam Grilu. Nimrita Kang. Risha Annika Sidhu. Jenny Rachel Ng. David Robert John Parkinson. Yiying Wang. Joelle Mariah Wong. Simran Aurora. Cleopatra Senzeni Jackson. The Honorable Justice Nicholas Robert Packek Carawalm. James Patrick Turner. Chancellor, I present an undergraduate graduating with a Bachelor of Commerce and a Bachelor of Laws, who is the recipient of the Grenby Family Beyond Bond Medal. Isabel Rayatea Audrey Silverling. Chancellor, the valedictorian has been selected to give the valedictory address on behalf of the graduating cohort this morning. He graduated with a Bachelor of Commerce in 2011 and a Bachelor of Laws in 2012. He is graduating with an Executive Master of Business Administration with a cumulative grade point average of 3.8 out of a possible 4. Of the 15 required coursework subjects, he has achieved 11 high distinctions and has been awarded first in class in 7 subjects. He has been placed on the Dean's List for Academic Excellence, has been presented with the Bond Business Schools Award for EMBA Academic Excellence on 3 occasions, and was placed on the Vice Chancellor's List for Academic Excellence on 2 occasions. Graduating with an Executive Master of Business Administration with high distinction and a cumulative percentage average of 85%, Jason Clive Pohl.
Thank you. You know, when the Dean of Students first called me to do this speech, I fell into a black hole of anxiety and I found my stomach in a knot. For this was not the first time that Alan Finch had called me, with both times beginning with, "Mr. Pohl, this is Alan Finch speaking." And that deep, ominous tone reminded me of my first year at Bond some 10 years ago, when I founded a young club called Basic. I believe it's still going today. Now, for those of you who don't know what Basic is, it stands for the Beer Appreciation and Social Intercourse Club. But Alan seemed to have confused a particular word when he sternly informed me that neither him nor the university board approved of such a club, and that the promotion of unsavoury conduct on campus was deemed unacceptable and inappropriate. I quickly reassured him that our club's only intention was to promote the culture of beer on campus through social relationships, and that our networking events were some of the most popular on campus. Any other intimate activity was none of our business, to which he replied, well, Bond does encourage networking and I don't mind a beer. How much is it to join? Sorry, Alan, it's a students-only association. Good morning, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, faculty members, family, friends, and of course, the illustrious class of 2018. My name is Jason Poll and I'm here to present your valedictorian address. And as a product of both the business and law faculties, I too have sat here wondering what happens next. The uncertain future of mixed emotions of excitement, apprehension, and even at times it's going to be a little bit overwhelming, as I am right now. Yet there is a sense of relief that there's no more late nights in the MLC or the library snacking on the finest vending cuisines, and there's no more assignments that need to magically appear the night before. But today I'm just going to speak to three very simple messages, and these are three learnings that I had from my first transition from Bond. And the first learning is to be a sponge. As we stand here today, we've all achieved something incredibly special. It's a Bond University degree. Now, this piece of paper does not define you. It does not mean that you've reached your peak, and it certainly is not going to guarantee you any future success. The certificate we hold is more of a symbol that represents our commitment to a cause, to work to a schedule, to be dependable, relatable, and at times even tolerable. But most importantly, it represents our ability to learn, our ability to lead, and at times to follow. Moving to the next stage of our lives will mean new jobs, new friends, and new environments. Yet, the unfortunate, but I guess truly very exciting thing is there's no longer in our lives a core curriculum and everything we're going to do is an elective. We find ourselves at a turning point where there's going to be a lot of unknowns, there's few support structures, and there's no more guidelines to be following. This is where our trusty metaphorical sponge is going to come in. I encourage you guys to become sponge-like. Immerse yourself, absorb, embrace all learnings from anyone and everything. Say yes to new ideas, push yourself to listen, and try and experience new and wonderful things. By consciously being the sponge in the outside world, your opportunities are only going to grow. Think about your spongeness at Bond, whether it's through academics, through sports, cultural activities, or even those networking clubs. Keep doing this and I promise you your success, will find you. I guess that was my mistake, Alan. There's nothing more fulfilling and more purposeful than a curious mind. Immerse, absorb, be the sponge. The second learning that I've found is that our value is the sum of our values. Simply the value we provide, whether it's to a new employer, to our own business, or even to our own relationships, these come from within. Some of you may value family, and yet you'll move into a highly demanding, inflexible environment, and this will just create you some stress. Some of you may not value competition, yet you'll move into a highly competitive sales environment. Neither of these things will be behaving in line with your values. Too often, we act not in alignment with our values, and that's when things feel just a little bit wrong. Values stand at the core of our decision-making, and they exist in each and every one of us, whether you want to acknowledge them or not, but by recognising them and planning around them, your life's going to be just that little bit easier. You'll be a little bit more content, a little bit more satisfied, and you'll be just that little bit more happy. These core values are going to be the source of your own individual greatness, so take the time and really understand these priorities. The last message is in fact a quote from my father. And that is, it's better to sleep well than to eat well. And just think about that for a moment. It's better to sleep well than to eat well. And I find this is more relevant now than ever. As business and law graduates, you're likely going to be moving into a profession where some people have lost their way. To Dr. Nugent's core message, trust has broken down. Individuals have lost their moral compass. The climate of corporate scandals, loss of social confidence, and the lack of trust in institutions is rife across the world today. But let's look at that in contrast to our little community here at Bond. At Bond, we comprise of a third of local students, a third broader domestic, a third international students. And with that, that encompasses almost 100 different nationalities. We have a 50% gender split, and over a dozen religions are practiced within the student body. We're not ridden with political or social turbulence, because being a Bondie means respect, integrity, and trust. These are paramount. Our scandals are limited to only the after-hour conduct at those networking events. The confidence in the university is high, ranking number 17 on the small universities globally. And our trust, well, I think our student satisfaction scores just show how much we trust this beautiful institution. Most of you don't know what lies ahead, but I do know this, that the Bond culture and our behaviour is something that this world desperately needs. Keep acting in the way we have done things. Practice through achieving through cooperation and collaboration, placing trust in each other and placing the core values at the centre of your decisions. When a Bondie gives their word, there's a power and there's a magic behind it. When you apply yourselves with integrity, it will flow into every relationship, whether it's business or personal. Just remember, honesty, it doesn't always pay, but dishonesty will always cost you. Make sure the decisions that you make allow you to sleep well at night. We are the generation that can sport a man bun well into our 30s and still become millionaires. We could be the inspirational Instagram blogger that changes the world from the comfort of yoga pants, armed with only essential oils and a poor NBN connection. A much smarter man in a YouTube video once told me personally that you can only connect the dots in hindsight. So guys, follow your heart, be the sponge, take a sponge bath, I guess. Trust your values and aspire to be meaningful. This is all we have to do going forward, just continue to be a Bondie. The world is lacking what we have, so let's show them how we do things here at Bond. To our family and friends, thank you for all of your love and support. This tassel has most certainly been worth the hassle. Without you guys, we wouldn't be sitting here today, so thank you very much. You're incredible. Thank you for your love and support. Yeah. As I look at the front, I can see some eager faces waiting for my final remark. Now, my MBA class knows that I guess when my speech content generally fails to deliver to the audience, I usually end on an Oprah moment. So today, I've brought with me a small gift for every graduate sitting here today. And no, it's not sitting under your seat. And this is a book that everyone's going to receive on the way out, and it's called Chapter 1. Now, this book is about a young entrepreneur who defied all odds and set up his own consumer brand business, and I'm sure that all of you will know of it when you pick up the book. And I hope you guys feel inspired to challenge what you know and that the crazy ideas that you have can become a reality. Just remember, this is the first chapter of his journey, so let's start thinking what's going to be in yours. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from today's valedictorian. I have sat through many valedictory addresses, and I have the pleasure of sitting up here on the stage and looking at the audience. And I can usually judge the quality of the valedictorian's address by the attentiveness of the audience and where their eyes are looking. And there is 1,200 people here, and I think almost every single eye was intent in its gaze on Mr. Jason Pole. So our valedictorian is selected on the basis of academic excellence and merit. So we never quite know what they're going to say. So it's always a little risky, and so I sit there with a little bit of trepidation. But I never cease to be amazed at the content, the messaging, the passion and the power which stands behind every valedictory address. And Jason, yours today was absolutely no exception. It was simply outstanding. You are a great credit to yourself, great credit to your parents, and hopefully great credit to this university. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please once again recognise Jason Pohl. So we're almost at the end of the formalities of this ceremony, and we have a tradition here at this university which not only involves dressing up from time to time, but at the end of each graduation ceremony, the Vice-Chancellor, myself, reads a charge to the latest graduates, and then I ask the graduates whether or not they will accept that charge. So graduates, will you please be upstanding? So this charge has been read out at every graduation ceremony to each graduating class since the establishment of this institution. And it goes, I charge you as graduates of Bond University to demonstrate at all times the highest moral and ethical standards, to apply your learnings and education to the benefit of society, to pursue the highest standards in all your endeavours, with excellence always your aim, and to forever support and enhance the reputation of your university through engagement as a proud alumni. Graduates, do you accept that charge? Oh, come on. Really? Graduates, do you accept that charge? Yes! Thank you. Before we close, can I too echo our valedictorian sentiments and expressions of gratitude and acknowledgement to your family, to your friends, to your supporters who have helped you along your way and your journey here at Bond University. Many of those are in the audience here today, but there are others who are unable to be here, and indeed others who may be somewhat distant in terms of a personal relationship, but nonetheless through their benefaction and their generosity, they've helped you out via perhaps scholarship. Well, while today is your day and it is all about you, it would be most appropriate if you were to take a moment to reach out to those who have helped and supported you, including those who are unable to be here today. And for those of you who have family, friends and supporters in far-flung places, please don't text them or get on your Facebook site. Please give them a call. I can tell you that I will love to hear the sound of your voice. And the simple words of thank you means a lot to people. As you leave this institution, you leave with our blessings, our well wishes, but you also leave, I trust, and I do really believe, with a foundation that will set you up for whatever the future holds. Be it your professional career, be it your contribution that you'll make to society at large, be it your civil role that you take on, or be it your activity for social volunteering, or your work in the non-profit sector. Wherever that journey of life takes you, you will forever be connected with this institution. Once a Bondi, always a Bondi. And recognise that your actions and behaviours will reflect not just on yourselves, but on this fine institution and everyone that has graduated before you. Because this institution, despite the magnificence of the surrounds and the sandstone and this magnificent location here, ultimately this institution is all about people. So you are the latest to wear that badge of pride of being an alumnus of Bond University. Forever remember that, and we are forever thankful that you chose us. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been very polite, extraordinarily patient. And just before we draw conclusions to a close, here is your opportunity one last time to recognise the latest graduates from Bond University. Let's make a bit of noise.